You,
Yeah, god damn it, Abe and
you
everyone.
motherfuckers, be quiet. I'm going to sleep.
Well, welcome to the Summit, everyone. This week, I was told I couldn't do something funny for my cold open. Let's go.
Kristen,
Fuck you,
do I
Abe.
look like a muppet?
What?
Do I look like a muppet?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you kidding me?
That was not funny.
That was your...
No, that was terrible. We need to cut it out. Now let's go back to the baby.
What's the right
I missed
direction
everything.
to go? I don't know. Am I a man?
Okay, guys, and welcome to
Or am I a
Reactors Summit. I'm Kristen
muppet?
Smith. I am the host of the Summit, and everyone
Really?
knows that because we have the same people that watch the show every week. Outside of that, we have a great panel to talk about these semifinal matches. They were great matches. They had a lot going on. We finally got some more storyline, which is something that we've been missing lately. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the matches. We're going to talk about it with a great panel. We got Matt Kearns returning to the Summit after a little bit of a break. He was mad that I took over.
What?
Yeah. Hi.
Why you put words in my mouth? That's just not nice. Misa back. I'm here because I need to talk about Tuesday's match. Let's just talk about Friday's match. Let's not even talk about Friday's match. Let's just talk about one half of Friday's match. Let's just talk about the one team, the winning team. Let's just do that. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Now to talk about all the other stuff and to be a little bit less Matt-like, we have Brooklyn Vale. How's it going?
It is dandy. It is noon on Saturday, so it's great. I'm all perked up, ready to go. Talk about a match that I don't really want to talk about, and a match that was actually kind of interesting once.
Kind of.
Okay, and to maybe talk about the other match, because apparently none of the other people want to talk about it. Cody Newberry, are you gonna talk about the other match today?
Oh yeah, I like the other match as much as somebody can like the other match. My bracket is destroyed and obliterated on the floor, so basically, I'm free to talk about anything because I have no more dogs in this race. So that's basically it.
I get it, because Freya and Ash. It's funny.
Yeah, and because we're recording in the morning, everything in my house is loud and awake, so that's awesome. So, woo! All right. Except for Abe. Abe is not awake. We want to thank Abe for waking up early to record the Summit today. Good job, Abe. You're a great human being. Kara is real sad that you're awake right now.
No, she's real upset of the way you treated Uncle Matt. That's what she's upset about.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You take that. You just put stuff in their faces and then they stop crying. All right. So we're going to talk about the first
Kobe's the
semifinal
same
match. Okay.
Oh wait, this is the late night.
This is late night.
No,
No.
not at all. All right, so we're gonna talk about guys. I am a mother with a baby who doesn't sleep.
Forget me, Father, for I've sinned. It was last week since my last impure thoughts.
Last week, more like yesterday.
Okay, moving on. We're gonna talk about the matches because I would fall asleep on camera. All right, we've got the Harris brothers versus the Odd Couple. This started out as a fantastic match. The Odd Couple, Jeff really came in with his crazy entrance. Andreyko was, his cool, calm, collected self. I thought, their teamwork at the beginning of the match was still kind of on point. They were still working well together, as well, working well with Roxy. And then the Harris brothers, they have the benefit of being brothers that like each other. So, of course, they worked well together. And John continued to show that he like deserves to be in this league from both the trivia standpoint and also, you know, the actual like character of the match standpoint. I thought he did a great job, and of course Lon. But this match really came down to that round 2 where, you know, Jeff thought he got a steal, but he ended up not getting it, and he was like a centimeter away from challenging that ruling and didn't. And that, I feel like, really threw the whole match out of whack. And I don't know if it impacted, you know, him answering questions well, but it definitely impacted, you know, the energy of Jeff, which impacted the energy of the entire match. And then also hitting opponent's choice and getting sports movies, people were excited. Well, Jeff's good at sports movies, except sports movies has notoriously been a very, very hard wheel slice to answer, even when that's someone's strength. They get 3 questions about surfing. Sorry. So this was, I thought, an interesting match, at least. The first half was very good. The second half was a little less energetic, but I still liked the result. To talk about this match first, we're going to head over to Brooklyn. He did not have the person he wanted to win this match, so he's got something to say about this one.
It was not an easy match to watch. I was like Kristen said, I think the semifinals was really where the teams started to click. Like you saw in previous rounds where Odd Couple were still trying to find the rhythm, and I really think that they had that promo wise in the semifinals. But that Tarantino question from Django Unchained, that is what we call in Canada the TSN turning point. Things just started to go south after that, and like sports movies, among a couple other categories which we'll talk about later, are one of those categories that it's like super broad, so you have a plethora of movies to go to. Like I said in the reaction, I am not sad that we lost to Harris Brothers. I actually think Lon is probably like one of the most consistent, like character-wise. Like his professor has gotten really good, and just now that he's added John to that, it actually got really entertaining. So it's really, really sucks that we lost in the way that we did, but to lose to the Harris Brothers is probably the best case Ontario.
Okay, there's a lot of Canada stuff in there, so I'm just going to ignore a lot of what you just said, and we're going to go over to Cody to talk about his thoughts.
That's racist.
Like, I'm sorry, everybody. This is why I have a petition to get Brooklyn removed. All he does is talk about Canada. I don't even think he watched the match. I think he just looked at a flag. Okay, basically, this match was really good. I love the Harris Brothers. I had JTE and Lon going really far. I had them losing this match to Snyder and Draco. So both technically met. It just, I didn't have the right outcome. I just feel like Jeff Snyder has been pissed playing trivia lately. He just doesn't seem fully happy. Either he's trying to not be as heelish as he normally used to be, but that is wearing on him, I think. I think he wants to be the true heel. I think he wanted to challenge that, like, no problems, but probably the calm in Draco let him not challenge that, because I think Snyder's win record on challenges, or how many times he's challenged in matches, is insane, because I think he's one of the most. But I think the match is good. I think Lon and John have an advantage because obviously they're brothers and they can have chemistry together. But I'm excited for them moving on. I just don't know how they will fare in the next round. I really don't.
Oops.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment because, I mean, John is a newbie to this game, and not even a newbie to the game. I mean, he wasn't like Chance, who was a fan before he started playing and had played in leagues structured to be similar to the Schmoedown. He came in completely cold. Like, I don't even know how many matches he had seen before he competed. He definitely didn't know the rules very well. You could see that in some of the questions he was asking, and a few times where he was really hesitant to use some of the rules. But really, it could play a part coming into this next match against a very seasoned team. with two very seasoned competitors, one of which having already had a belt, which we'll get into that in a minute. That could really impact how that match plays. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see that happen in a few weeks. But we're going to head over to Matt for his statements about this match between the Harris Bros and the Odd Couple. Matt, what did you think?
Yeah, this was a interesting match. I agree with you guys that sort of after that challenge, just sort of the Odd Couple, just kind of not how they were playing changed, but you could just tell, it's kind of like you said, Kristen, like the energy was definitely lost there when Jeff decided not to challenge. I'm not sure if it's because Jeff's trying to not be a heel. I think it's just sometimes, I don't know, when it comes to challenges, sometimes maybe the fear of, like, if you lose the challenge, like, it's the same thing we use in JTE rules in the game, is sometimes you want to use it, but then you're also like, I need to save it, and then only to look it back and be like, well, if I use it there, maybe I would have won. The Harris Bros, they have the advantage of being brothers, for sure, and they work well together. They definitely have chemistry, and Lon has, like Brooklyn or Cody, I'm not even sure who said it, the most consistent, like, character. Like, he's never really, once he figured out the professor character, he kind of just stuck with it. So I'm fine with Harris Bros moving forward. This does break my near perfect bracket, since I had I had Jeff and Mark winning this. Although technically, I think that I think that my bracket should still count, considering that it wasn't JTE and Lon who lost. It was the Harris Bros, different team. Just saying. It is going to be interesting to see if John's newness to the mat, to the world of the Schmoedown, I think might affect him in the next match. When, like you said, not only do you have two really seasoned players in the game, but you also have one guy who is really, really strong at playing the mental game of the Schmoedown. And I have a feeling like John might be the weak link when it comes to... I feel like he's going to become really susceptible to Bateman's mind games. Just because the way Ben plays the game, I think he's going to go after John, not Lon. And I'm not sure if John's going to be ready for what Bateman can bring. I think that's going to turn the tide of the match. But yeah, overall, it was a good match. Opening cutscene was really nice. It was nice to see that Ben Bateman being wrongfully accused, which I have been saying since Collision. Just saying.
You could say it all you want. Doesn't mean that it's... I mean, there's video evidence, so it's hard to kind of...
I was going to say, there's video evidence that he was wrongfully accused, Kristen. What are you trying to say? You're like, you can say it all you want, but it's true. So
sounds like Matt Kearns needs to be the Matt Murdock of the Schmoedown. He takes on Schmoedown competitors who have been wronged.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I
let's do it, guys. Netflix, hit me up.
I really don't want Matt to be right about things, so it makes me upset when the Schmoedown proves him right about things.
So you weren't happy when I said Roka was going to beat Bibbs. It was going to be the new champion. You weren't happy about me saying that?
No, that's different. That's different.
Oh, okay. Double standard
you
Smith over
right,
here.
Then you were just stating the obvious. So we're gonna move. We're gonna
I did the same thing.
The cutscene was really good. I enjoyed that as well. I thought that it was another layer of this messy Kalinowski cake.
It's also just nice to see cutscenes and storylines coming back.
It's been a while, and I know that Christian said somewhere online he's had a lot of statements recently. It could have been a post on Facebook that the cutscenes have been cut back so much because they just don't really have the studio time to do them right now because they have a very limited time to shoot the entire Schmoedown and all the promos and all the interviews afterwards, and so they don't always have that extra time to cut, you know, these little cutscenes and film them. So it was nice to see those coming back, because the last few weeks we have really been missing that storyline. And luckily, the tournament itself has been its own storyline, into which we didn't really need a lot of cutscenes. But now that we're getting into that final 2 matches, it's really important that we're getting, you know, these little cutscenes, because that's going to hold us through to the spectacular, and that's usually when we see the wrap up of, you know, the big year storylines is at the spectacular. So it's good that they're coming back, because we definitely need them to start kind of getting into their final arch, which we will see, because we're going to talk about the cutscenes with Thad. Oh, poor Thad. But I did want to mention that Johnny LaCosta on the desk was amazing. I'm so glad we finally got him to be a commentator. I think obviously, like, that's his job, like, for realsies, so he's good at it. But I've been saying it since, like, he was like a manager the first time around. Like, this guy needs to be on the desk more often. He talks like ridiculously well for this kind of competition, and I'm really happy to have him finally do a match, because this thing, he was like the best part of the match for me. Just, he was on point with his commentary. I thought it was great. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the cutscenes, because they tie in together. So first you had the cutscene between Thad and Mike. Mike just kind of barging in and saying, hey, you know, Ken's going to be in the Star Wars tournament, or not the tournament, but he's going to be playing Alex for the belt at the spectacular. And then the next match we had, you saw Brienne barging in and basically saying, I'm the union leader. You didn't catch it. She had a union button. So that's implying that the Schmoedown was a union now. So yeah, you had her coming in with a list of all the competitors having signed saying if Thad didn't step down, then they would all leave the Schmoedown. So we've really got this step up into what the final arc of this storyline is going to be. We're going to see, hopefully, Thad lose his commissionership, and maybe Tom Dagnino will step up, or maybe we'll get Christian Harloff back where he rightly belongs. But we're going to talk about this cutscene real quick, or these 2 cutscenes, because they play so well together. So we're going to shoot it over to Matt first. What do you think about the way that this storyline is shifting into the last part of the year, and what do you want to see come out of it? Do you want to see Thad keep the commissionership and find a way to weasel his way out of this, or, you know, what are we going to see in terms of Mike's part to play in this last little bit of storyline we have part of it?
So I really liked this cutscene with Brienne. I think this season that's probably been my favorite thing, is seeing like Brienne's character has really sort of shifted and formed. I think again, like, she's kind of the perfect person to be in charge of this Schmoedown union. We saw that all the way back when she had the contract on Thad, like, and this is kind of just come into play. Is just like, one, I'm glad that she brought up the fact that Thad weaseled his way out of a legally binding contract in which Tom Dagnino was supposed to be our commissioner. Sorry, I supported Patreon for that reason, and then it didn't happen. And it's just, I would love to see if we could ever see the list of who was going to walk with Brienne. Because the way it looked was like it was going to be most of our favorites were going to walk. So I'd be interested to see that. And also, this is kind of the way I wanted this story to go. This is no offense to Thad, but from the start, he was always kind of a weak commissioner. Like, and I think that was kind of the point. That's why Kalinowski was able to, like, you know, sort of start pulling his strings and doing whatever he wanted. I am interested, though, was brought up fairly quickly in the first cutscene, which is, again, we still don't know what exactly Mike had on Thad that allowed him to do this. I'm hoping that at Spectacular we finally find out what it was that he has on him. Because depending on what it is, that could be something that just changes next season. Like, it could be something and I'm not saying this happened, but it could be something as crazy as like, and again, this is just, it wouldn't really happen, but like Dan Murrell threw his title match with Christian Harloff or something, and he told Murrell, like something crazy like that, or I don't know, Tom Dagnino is a robot. Just something like, what does he have on this guy who? And then the second cutscene, it was nice to see at least once Thad, kind of fuck up and try to get around a phrase that I don't want to use on a family show, but he grew a pair finally. He finally grew a pair, and he stood up the mic, which I was so happy about, because when I saw the cutscene that was like, oh, Ken's gonna be facing Alex, I was like, okay, like I guess that's fine, but there's other people who could be playing, but okay. But then this time it was like, good. You finally, you finally did something right, Thad. Good on you. All right, Tab. Good work, finally. No, but I'm really happy that this seems to be the storyline that's going to be moving us into the end of the year, which I'm just happy about, because I think it's a great storyline to sort of end on, because there's so many different ways you could go with it that not just affect the end of this season, but also the start of next season.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this storyline, because with Thad stepping up for himself, or kind of like, oh shoot, I gotta tell him no or else I'm out kind of thing, it'll be interesting to see if there's any retaliation.
Yeah,
finally get to actually see what Mike has on Thad that was making him so scared. Because personally, that's where I want to see this go. I want to see Mike basically take Thad out.
Because that's the thing.
Like a double, like,
because that's the thing. Mike walked away from
Mexican standoff. Is that what it's called?
Yes, Mike walked away from that conversation with Thad in the last cutscene a little bit too easily. Once Thad said no, he was kind of like, "Oh, okay." Which I feel like Mike had something, like he was prepared for this. Not sure with what, but like he didn't really put up a fight, which is weird.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get some more opinions on these storylines, because I think that it's important enough to bear good conversation. So we're going to shift it over to Cody. Kara has something to say, but I'm not going to listen to her. Cody, what do you have to say about the storylines?
These cutscenes were awesome. When they started happening, I was like, oh, the Schmoedown still does these. These are cool, because they're some of my favorite moments. I like where they're going with it, especially with Brienne. I agree with Matt. Brienne's character has developed to such a kind of I'm for the people, but also mob boss personality. So that would be really cool. I think they can set up a cool storyline. Well, of course, I think you have to feature Harloff. I think Harloff has to be in the picture of some sort, and do Harloff, Thad, Brienne, a manager bowl last year, but for control of the Schmoedown. I think that's really cool. If they can pull it off, instead of doing a manager bowl. If they do a manager bowl this year, it'd be like a mini free-for-all, because there's a lot of technical managers now after Anarchy, which would be also a cool storyline if they go to that direction. But yeah, I'm excited to see the Schmoedown. I'm excited that Thad stepped up for himself, even though I think Thad's been the weak commissioner, and I'm not the biggest fan of Thad being the commissioner, Thad/Mike. So I really want him just to be thrown out of power. And I agree 100% with Matt when Kalinowski said, okay, there's not a chance in hell he's letting this go. So something's going to play something, and what we knew from last year's Spectacular, the cutscenes and stuff, the storylines involved in Spectacular were outstanding, and I think they're just going to get better from here on. So, yeah, it was a great storyline.
Yeah, definitely, and I really enjoyed that it was 3 scenes and they all worked together and they created their own narrative, as opposed to getting a scene every match or every other match. You had 2 matches that really showed one overarching like actual story within itself, and so we got really quickly answers to questions, and we got very quickly the narrative of where we're going with the rest of the season. So I thought this was a really well done storyline. Last but not least, Brooklyn, what were your thoughts on this storyline and the cutscenes?
I thought it was actually really good. Brienne's character has probably shone the most of these two. To answer Matt's question from previous, I imagine Brienne just went to the Schmoedown roster and said, "Raise your hand if you felt personally victimized by Mike Kalinowski," and you can try off a bunch of different people: Johnny LaQuasto, John Roca, Cody Newberry, Kristen Smith, myself. We've all been personally victimized by Mike Kalinowski. But yeah, it's like. I mean, eventually Thad was going to stand up as someone who often tries to like look ahead as to like, oh, how are they, like, what are they going to do next for this? I think they're structuring it right, and much like a batch of bread, you can only rise. So I think this is a great starting point as to where to go. I do agree with Cody that we're going to get probably commish versus commish in some way, shape, or form. If it's going to be like singles or doubles or some sort of gimmicky shenanigan kind of match. But yeah, I think this is sort of a great starting point to build up to what will eventually be spectacular.
Yeah, and I definitely think that we're going to get something commissioner-wise. I don't know what it is. Christian did post on the Facebook page what the spectacular set list was going to be, but he didn't say it was final. So there's still a chance that we're going to see more of that in the spectacular. But at the moment, there's nothing there yet. But last spectacular, we did have the manager bowl. So it's quite possible we have a commissioner bowl as well. Or
he
maybe
did say 6. He did say 6 matches will be at spectacular.
And he only announced 5, so it's there's something else brewing, and given the storyline, it's hard to not see something with the commissioners going on. But I think that there's going to be a question of how that plays out, if it's only storyline or if it's an actual match, or if it's going to be like the byline through all the matches at spectacular, because I think all the matches that are happening so far have something to do with the current storyline, with the teams being corruption. The whole tournament was his storyline. Then you've got the Star Wars match with Ken being in the match, which is part of the storyline. The Inner Geekdom belt, which is part of the storyline. And then singles, they're going to find some way to tie this thing into this Kalinowski storyline. There's no way. And then there's a number 1 contender match. So there's going to be a byline for every single match with this Mike Kalinowski thing. Brooklyn, what were your thoughts?
I'm actually going to disagree with the singles thing. I feel like you need a palate cleanser. In terms of spectacular. No, seriously. I think you need a break from the corruption. Like it can almost be a little bit overwhelming. So I think if they are to take one match that isn't going to be corruption heavy, I think John Roca as a character is powerful enough where he can sort of like lead the charge in terms of promos.
But if Chance gets it, it's there.
Yeah, unless there's like a 12.5% chance that Chance gets it. So
12.5.
12.5.
Where'd you pull that out?
And we also don't know what the number 1 contender match is going to be.
True.
Mike could force his way into that number 1 contender match, and I think that people would riot because people are already mad that he forced his way into the Inner Geekdom match. Or I think we could see that be kind of the palate cleanser, because it seems like if there's going to be one that's not attached to all of this nonsense, it would be that, because it has less to do with the storyline and it has more to do with what next season is going to look like, because we won't see whoever faces or whoever wins that match go for the belt until next season. So it'll be interesting to see who's announced to be those number 1 contenders, because this could really be what drives next year's storyline, and that could be your palate cleansing match of the spectacular.
I agree. I think that palate cleansing maybe not to use, but I think it's also like the great thing about both of the spectaculars we've had so far is they didn't hinge on just one storyline. Like in the first one, we had the Lions Den and the 4 Horsemen forming, but we also had Riley and Roka, and then, you know, with Merle. And then in the second one, we had, you know, we had the Manager's Bowl, which led to, you know, Fife Club. And that's been the nice thing, is that, like, Spectacular's always been, as someone who, it's no secret, like, I love the Trivia and Schmoedown, but I'm more about the storylines. It's been a real celebration to where it's just, like, a lot of the main players get to sort of, like, throughout the season, get to sort of pop up, and they get, even if it's just, like at last year, we had the whole thing with Cody and Lon. Like, we just had, like, you know, all right, fine, I'll play you in a match, for God's sake. You know, like, we just sort of get stuff like that. And I think we're certainly going to see that. I think with the teams match, for sure, I don't think Mike's going to be a part of that. And especially if Who's Boss goes on to win, I think we'll have, you know, the storyline of just Clark versus Mark, you know, which I think, especially given some hurtful things that she said in an interview, should be very interesting. So I think that we will get palate cleansers, but I think also, and that's the thing with Corruption, I'm not sure if this is going to be the finale or just like a new beginning for Corruption into next season.
That's the sequel's title, Corruption: A New Beginning.
Ooh, trademark, Matt Kurtz. So Christian Harloff, give me money.
Cody, did you have anything else to say about the storylines, or?
I think Spectacular is going to play its own beast. I think it's. I don't think there needs to be a palate cleanser, actually, because this whole season has been corruption. That's his whole mantra. And if it affects Spectacular, yes, if there's like a bright star at the end of it, like Harloff takes back control or a new face takes control. Because we all thought when Thad took over, we're like, thank gosh, because now Christian can play and not have to have so much crap thrown at him when he wins. But now it's like, gosh, you have been taken over every chance you turn. So it would make sense if Corruption was spectacular heavy. I don't agree with the strong arming trying to get himself in another match on that night, but I think that if he, you know, had a twist or a turn that maybe wasn't him or something that he's in control, kicking somebody off the desk, doing something, that's what this season's about. And I mean, we haven't had a ton of storylines this season because they've had to take the cost on themselves. They have to do it smart. They have to do it strategic. But we still have so many storylines that have been played out that haven't been cashed in yet. Like Knights of Kin, and then you have Dagnito versus him. Like, those are some tensions that just brew in that last match. So there's a lot of interesting stuff they can go with. I just hope they'll finish strong like they always do. I think it's just a matter of time. And the singles tournament, we'll see how that plays out. But if Chance makes it, then we have a Corruption heavy Spectacular. There's no question.
It's accurate, completely accurate. And I do want to say one thing about the Inner Geekdom match, because I saw a lot of people kind of complaining about that this week in terms of, I didn't see very many people complaining about Ken getting a shot at the Star Wars belt again for some reason. But I did see a lot of complaining about the Inner Geekdom match. And just look at it from the timing we had in between when Mara got the belt and now. There has been no time to figure out how to get another Inner Geekdom #1 contender into this schedule, because we had to get into the team tournament and now a singles tournament before we get to Spectacular, which means there is a very limited amount of time in between that last live event and Spectacular in order to get all of these matches filmed and planned and done, which means there would not have been time to do another Inner Geekdom tournament or 2 Inner Geekdom 5-ways with one #1 contender match at the end. Yeah. There's just not enough time for that. So you had someone with
the Star Wars match,
right? There was no time to do a separate Star Wars match for this. It just is what it is, right? So instead of complaining about it, I think we should just be excited that we're going to be seeing Mara playing and hopefully winning and defending her title against Mike. Now, that's not to say Mike doesn't deserve it, because I think Mike played really, really, really well in the tournament. And if there's going to be a #1 contender, it should either be Inman or probably Mike, because they played the best in the matches that were featured. Although I think Rachel played the best.
I think I agree with
win. So
I agree with you, Kristen, in that of course we don't have time. There's no time in the schedule to have these matches, number one contenders. I think in both cases, the people that we have, Ken has proved himself in the Star Wars division. He has proved himself time and time again. Mike proved himself in this tournament. So it's not like we're getting a Brandon Green. No offense. It's not like we're just pulling someone and putting them in a match who hasn't quite proven themselves. We have people who are established, who we know, and what are the hands up for? What did I say?
Well, we just have a question. We just have a thing. So instead of moving on, you're fine.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
it's actually it's Bruce Green from Funhouse.
Bruce Green. All right.
Not Brandon.
There's the guy that corrects people. Sorry, that's sign my petition, people. Tell you right now.
Well, we don't want to get in trouble because they're a really big channel. They have a lot of fans.
Way to go, Matt. Good lord. Get yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm glad Alex won the belt from you. How about that?
So I mean, I get what you're saying. Brooklyn, did you have a piece to say about this?
I was just gonna say, but in terms of the Star Wars match where you're sort of adding in Ken Knapsack, I think the one thing to sort of keep your eyes peaked, kind of keep your eyes at is there hasn't been a multi-man match announced yet. When you think about the first spectacular, there was the Intergeekdom 5-way for the championship. The second one, there was their manageable, which fatal 4-way. There hasn't been a multi-man match announced yet, so you could easily throw in. I mean, mind you, schedules permitting, you could throw in Sam for the Star Wars match. You could throw in a triple threat somewhere. You honestly never know. I'm not sure where it's going to be fit in, but we're gonna cross our fingers and hope for the best.
I can tell you right now, it's not going to be the Star Wars match.
Cool.
Well, I mean, if they got Joseph Scrimshaw to be in it, I think they could do a 3-way, but then that would feel a lot like that live match that already happened, and I don't think that we want to replay it. I mean, I want to replay the match, but I think that
it would actually
the narrative would be a little bit anticlimactic. And Sam is not going to be in the match. It's just not gonna happen.
You heard it here first, folks.
If it happens, I can be proved wrong, and I will be extremely surprised. But last I heard, he's just not. He's too busy to be in the Schmoedown for the foreseeable future. Cody, did you have anything to say about that?
So the multi-man match format, I think, is happening with the commissioner's thing. That's what I honestly think. I think it's going to be Brian. I think it's going to be Harloff. I think it's going to be Thad, and maybe Mike. I'm not sure because I know they don't like doing double matches at the spectacular, if you're in multiple. So the ideal Intergeekdom match would have been Inman. It would have been a fatal 4-way. It would have been Inman, Rachel because she wasn't at full strength, Mara, and Kalinowski. But in storyline, that makes no sense. Mike would not grant two other people a title shot over himself. So to play in with the storyline, it has to just be him versus Mara. That's obvious. That's just a fact of how it works. So I agree with that decision, even though I would love to see those four go at it for the Intergeekdom title in a fatal 4-way. But it's just not going to work that way. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with you, Cody. I think that you're just wrong. No, I'm just joking.
That's fair.
You could be right. But the end of the story is we don't actually know what this last match is going to be. So we can speculate all we want, but it could just be another manageable. It could be Thad versus Kalinowski or something. It could
be Tom versus JTE versus someone else who's a really big Stallone fan in a Rocky match.
Or we could get a celebrity match. Who knows?
Kurt Russell
versus Matt Kearns in an actual sudden death match where instead of just winning the match,
lay on my sword.
The sudden death is literal death. So that's a spectacular, guys. Get ready to see Matt Kearns die. To Kurt Russell. I suppose if he's going to die, Kurt Russell is the way to go.
He'll hold me in my arms and I'll just say, just say your name one more time.
We're gonna plan your googly now, because sorry. I had to throw in a line from Zoolander.
My
there we go.
my
All
in
right,
memoriam will be played on take 3.
Yeah, it'll be like
It'll be a lot of
24
Matt
hours,
just going, man, I love Mark Riley, and then crying over Mark Riley lost. It's like, well, that was Matt on take 3. He really didn't
All right.
do much.
So I wasn't planning on talking about Spectacular in the middle of
Yeah,
the
we haven't
podcast,
ever
but it
met.
worked out real well. We were going to talk about it at the end when we talked about the news, but hey, you know what? We had a good discussion, so we're actually going to move on to the second match.
The news.
Woo! The second match. This was a fantastic match. I think that it's definitely up there with last week's matches, which I thought were some of the best matches we had in the whole year. For teams, but this one I thought was really good. This Corruption versus Who's the Boss, and it wasn't good. Like, I mean, there's different reasons why a match is good, and I thought this one was good because of the way that Ben got into Mike Kalinowski's head, and it was so subtle. Like, I mean, he was like talking a lot of game, but like you could kind of see like Mike starting to pull back a lot, and it's when someone really gets into your head, it can impact the way that you play the game. And I really kind of saw that as we were moving into, you know, that second round and everything, Mike kind of taking a step back and Chance really leading that team instead of Mike leading the team, which you know, it should be more of a partnership, and it definitely was Chance doing all the heavy lifting once you got to round 2. So this match I thought was great. I just want to ask in the beginning, Freya, there's a squirrel. I'm sorry. Sorry, Christian.
They
don't
struck
watch the
again.
show. There's a squirrel.
Score.
Okay, I just Freya. Okay.
Praise the Harlow. Abe, leave this in.
What?
Don't please,
Leave this
no.
whole.
We'll need to have Freya versus Molly in a hot takes match, just like who can provide the most hot takes.
Bark. Okay, so I do want to ask a question real quick. The promo music at the very beginning, did it just sound like someone was saying growl for the lyrics the whole time? Because it totally, to me, sounded like Bibbs just kind of like singing growl a lot.
Okay.
I thought it was I thought I heard overrated. They did that. Someone just took the sample of overrated and just sort of like made it into a beast. I could also be incredibly crazy, but you know.
Yeah, I just heard growl a lot.
I didn't
like
hear
Bibbs
anything.
just saying growl. I don't know. maybe I'm the crazy one and I'm just
I disagree
listening
with
for
you,
growls.
but that's okay. You're just wrong, Kristen. You're just wrong.
Well, thank you, Cody. I'm the host, so you're fired. No.
Thank God. Holy crap. I mean,
I heard growl, but maybe it was subliminal messaging or something.
I heard
Okay, so
Wiley, personally.
all right, so we're gonna move on to the actual match. So I mean, besides the fact that Mark called Chance Chase, which I've never done on a recording, ever done on a recording. Never. I would never have done that to you, Chance, on a recording. All right, Matt, shut down. We got a lot of really good play in round 1. I thought Chance was really great in round 1, as well as Who's the Boss, I thought did a really good job. They all missed that first question, so any of the suspense of will they, won't they get a perfect round in round 1 was really kind of like squashed right away. But besides that, I thought everything was really even. Obviously, being tied at the end of round 1. Round 2 was really when we showed who was going to win this match. Ben and Riley had a fantastic second round. And I would say this was probably Mark Riley's best second round we've seen in a long time. Just a long time. Because, and everyone was like, ooh, this is what sunk Riley the last time. But I felt like he was the one driving that round 2. And Ben had a couple, but I felt like it was more Riley driving that round 2 performance, and I was very impressed with that. And then round 2 for Corruption was I don't know if it was Mike having his head getting into, or they just didn't know the answers, but it felt like they were answering too quickly in some cases. They weren't, making guesses, or I don't know. It fell apart for them a lot in that round 2. And then you saw round 3. There's not much you can do when you're down by 7 points. They ended up tying it up, so they missed that KO territory, luckily. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do when you're down by that many points. So we did see Who's the Boss winning. Matt's very happy, but the rest of us are sad because Matt's happy. So we're just gonna get Matt done and over with so that we can have a discussion about something other than Riley and Ben. So Matt, you have I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, and then we're cutting you off.
That's way too long. Give me
That's
two.
way too
I'm gonna
long.
give you 2. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. I'm gonna give him 3 minutes, and he's going to take 5. We might as well just give him the money.
That's accurate.
Why
Fine.
is Matt's happiness such a bad thing?
Okay, Matt. Why don't you just talk about the match?
Yeah, I'll do that. I didn't know everybody hated me on this channel.
Well, we're just trying
Now
to.
you know.
Now you know.
Okay. I'll try to put on a brave face and go through this. So yeah. Who's the freaking boss won this match? So the first thing we need to talk about is the fact that Ben and Riley, out of all the teams, their chemistry is probably the best, along with Tom. Like, the 3 of them, you saw that in the opening promo. They just work off each other so well. Like, I love how, like, they kind of just let Tom say whatever he wants. And then Ben and Riley just, like, also that opening thing. For anyone who said after, like, his match with Guy that, like, oh, ring rust, like, the fire's out of Riley. When Riley just goes, you know what? I agree with you, Bateman. Mike's a little mini bitch. Like, you're just like, oh, this is how we're starting this match. This is how we're doing it. The promos, it was probably my favorite promos out of the entire Anarchy tournament so far, because on both ends it was fantastic. And then getting into the match, yeah, Ben got into Mike's head. And I know that was kind of his plan, because if you're a patron of Team Action, patreon.com/Team Action, they talked, Mark and Ben talked about this, and Ben talked about the fact that Chance is such a unknown element that he wasn't really going to try to go after him. He wanted to go after Mike, because he's played Mike, and he's gone in Mike's head before, and that's exactly what he did again. And Ben is the best at playing the mind games in the whole league, I'll say. He just knows the right buttons to push, and that happened like right off the bat in round 1. When Mike's using 2 JT rules and Ben's just sitting there laughing at him. And then just led into round 2, where the thing with scores and soundtracks is it's a really broad category. Mark just got some bad luck in the last one, but I agree, he definitely was leading the charge on this one. And they're just playing a fantastic game. Like, they're killing it. Like, they just both work so well together. They both have strengths that complement the others. Their chemistry is right on. Tom is being fantastic. I love the standoff between Ken and Tom before the wheel round. Like, I loved that. Just like the moment, just like the 2 managers just sort of coming into it. Corruption, you know what? Listen, they had a good round 1. They just had a bad round 2. It's what happens. Overall, I'm extremely excited to see Ben and Mark keep going. And at this point, I'm starting to think the crazy thoughts of just like, even if they don't end up winning the belt, I kind of might want to see what Who's the Boss sticking together into next season could be, because even if they lose, if they stuck together, they could easily be the team champs. So there's my time.
Okay. Well, I thought you did a very good job not being a crazy fanboy. So well done, Matt. I'm very proud of you, son.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks for leaving me in Burbank, by the way. Glad
You're
you're making the kid better.
You're welcome. You made it back fine. You got to push the kids out of the nest sometime.
Sure. Did Dad finally get his cigarettes that he left me for?
Yes.
Good.
Well, we're gonna shoot it over to Brooklyn to give your thoughts on this match, and we won't give you as much time as Matt because you didn't have two people to fanboy over in this match, but it's okay. I won't time you. So.
All right. So 3 things. One, like I mentioned about the last match, how the teams are really coming together. I thought Who's the Boss really came together in a promo. I was watching it and I was like, yeah, these guys are kind of scary now. Like the 3 of them is literally a match made in Curran's heaven. So, second thing is I'm more confused, tired and confused of being like, Chance is such an unknown element. We don't really know what he has. There is almost a year's worth of matches in singles and teams and Intergeekdom. If any smart monkey knows what to do in the future, just go look at one of his matches. Ethan Irwin, and on the off chance that you are watching this, go he's had championship matches, he's had number one contenders matches. Like there's a plethora of things to do. Third thing is you live by the wheel and you die by the wheel. Who's the Boss got the edge on the wheel. 2000s category is much like sports movies, is more broad somehow than scores and soundtracks. And I just didn't get the questions that were in their wheelhouse, similar to Janine and War Machine whenever they lost to who did they lose to? Man, I am blanking so hard right now.
That was the first match, right?
Yeah, because they also had 2000s movies and they didn't
They
do.
lost to Paddington too.
Yeah.
Oh, the Paddington.
The Paddington.
Excuse me.
But yeah, to sum everything up together, for those who are saying the chances is an unknown factor, many people are. You have tons of study material.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I think that there's the wheel definitely determined both of these 2 matches. As much as last week was more of matches that were neck and neck the entire way, this was the week where the wheel was the real winner. So yeah, no, I get you completely on that. And Cody, did you have your thoughts about this match?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting because I'm with Brooklyn. Again, we're from the fan community of the Trivia Leagues. There's plenty out there. By the way, Parloff, he has lost in fan Trivia Leagues. It's been proven. But the whole thing is he prides himself on movie release dates when we knew him. And then he spun away from it. Even though Ben's sitting there, I get that. But Chance is really good at release dates. So that was really shocking. Also, Riley is slowly becoming a heel the more and more he sits there. He can pass off the good guy, the great persona, but he does some real underhanded dickish comments throughout matches. And I want it to be known that he is not this big hero that everybody thinks he is, which I love Riley. I'm nothing against him, but own your dickishness. Don't just pass it off. You could have stood up for your boys in the interview a little bit more than you did when Tom Dagnino started talking about Roca. But yeah, I think the wheel makes the biggest difference. I think they should have stuck with movie release dates because, one, yes, Ben sitting across the table, but to narrow down a year could be a little bit easier than some broad categories that the 2000s presented to you. And I think I heard a lot of griping about the scores and soundtrack questions being easy. I disagree. I'm not good at scores and soundtracks, but the whole factor is that's not a category that gets hit that often. So the wheel is not, you don't know what the questions. It's like the quotes when Patriots got it. No one hits it. You get easy ones. I mean, they haven't been dived into like the 2000s movies. So I think it was fair. I like Who's the Boss. I think they're a great team. I'm excited about them moving forward. I have them winning the next match. I have them probably beating the Shire Wolves even because I like the Shire Wolves a ton. How dare you? I love the Shire Wolves a ton. I just think.
How dare you by 2?
I just think two people that have proven to be shaky win in the match
dare
They
you?
are shaky.
Oh,
They're shaky at times.
Oh God!
So I see shakiness happen, and I see
Cody
Ben
is
Baby
never
take.
invited onto the summit again.
I'm sorry for having a different opinion. I think with Ben over across the corner pissing Rachel and Clark off, they are huge emotion-based people, which I love, and I hope they win the title. I hope they beat them, but I have them definitely beating them right now.
Abe has something to say. Wait, where's my focus? Well, I'm out of focus. I'm sorry. Ben has played Rachel and Clark before. What happened? Esposito or Jackson. I don't remember what last name he gave in the live event. So I'm just saying the Sheriff Wolves have this
But
win.
Riley's been partnered with Clark before. He knows her strategy. He knows her game. There's a huge factor. Who I want to win? Shire Wolves. But who could win? Who's the boss? They could definitely.
If there's two teams, both of them can win. That's a possibility either way.
You just can't doubt the shakiness of those two competitors. They play pure passion based, and that could be a big factor.
Okay, Kristen, you can keep posting.
Cody, I have no words for you. Matt, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I did. So to jump in on this Chance has a bunch of matches. No one. Ben, again, in this, it's hard to talk about this because you can only see this video if you're a patron. But Ben talked about when him and Mark and Drew recapped the Who's the Boss's match against I forget the name now, but Nost and Bibiani.
Cinemaniacs.
No, Cinemaniacs. Ben talked about the fact that he watched a lot of Chance's matches in preparation for this because Ben is the type of guy who studied. Him and Mark both watched. And the thing that when I talk about Ben saying that he's an unknown element, he's able to see him play trivia. But there's a difference between the fan leagues when you're sitting behind a computer screen and when you're at the table with someone. And the character that Chance is playing in the Schmoedown, that's the unknown element. And Ben's head games, he doesn't quite know the type of character because Chance only had, up to that point, he had 2 matches. He doesn't know if head games are going to work on Chance or not. Like he knows with Mike, he's been able to see, not just in matches that he played with Mike, but in matches that he's maybe been live with Mike, but he's been able to see that, oh, if I push these buttons on Mike, it's going to work. That's the unknown element of Chance that Ben and Riley didn't know about going in. Trivia-wise, of course, they watched his matches. They know that he knows stuff. Ben even said he's not even sure how a 20-year-old knows as much as he does. And that's why Ben said going to this match, he was focused on taking out Mike because he felt, and what happened, if you take out Mike, because Ben and Riley are both strong in trivia together, Chance might not be strong enough to take on both of them, and it's exactly what happened in this match.
Yeah, and I think that was a smart strategy to take because you've seen Mike be impacted by what's going on in the match before, and sometimes when he gets in his own head, it can impact his performance in the matches. And so I think that was a smart strategy to take is just kind of take out the knees of the team and then the whole thing falls over. Unfortunately, because I actually really did like the team corruption as a team. Luckily, if you haven't watched last week's Summit, we had, Chance was on the whole episode, but he also talked a lot about his matches and previewed a little bit of this week. But he did say moving forward, him and Mike, he would love to continue being a team with Mike if that's something that, they want to continue. So as far as he's concerned, we'll continue to see corruption as a team in the Schmoedown. So hopefully that happens because I really started to like their dynamic together. But I think we're all off track here because the best team that came out of this Anarchy tournament was obviously Bibs and Nost, and they had
Wait. Take the cannoli.
Nope.
No.
Who's the
Odd
boss?
couple. Odd couple.
They had the best.
Paddington
They
2.
had
The Paddington 2.
They had the best on-screen connection, Bibs and Most did. So I think we're all wrong.
Have you seen that movie?
No one's trying to break that connection.
Whoa.
You know, I'm not even in this show, and I'm talking over you. You guys are wrong.
If you guys watch the very special 50th episode of Late Night with Take 3, which you can find every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will find out that I disagree with what Chris said.
You can disagree all you want, but I'm the host, so
I'm the editor. I can call you out.
I'm a panelist. I'm a guest. Isn't the guest always right?
No. All right,
You're not a guest.
as
You're
you
a
can
part of the
see-
panel.
Abe, go back to your dark corner and turn your camera off. No one wants to hear from you this week.
Well,
Come back
I'm
when
gonna
you
talk
can't
to the
find
next.
someone else.
Look, transition to the news. What's it?
We have some stuff to say first, and then we'll transition to the news. So,
Okay, you can keep hosting.
as
Sorry.
you can see, the Anarchy tournament has been something that we've all really enjoyed, more so than I thought we would, because I thought it was just going to be craziness, and it ended up being really, really amazing to see these people team up and see new dynamics being created and seeing new favorite teams being made. As you can see, each one of us had a different favorite team that came out of this tournament. We all liked them for different reasons. To talk about something that's also very important to Take 3 is a special report from Malcolm, who's going to talk about our brackets, which I didn't have, so I'm happy because it would not have ended well for me. But he's going to go over our brackets. See, not happy, I tell ya. He's going to go over our brackets as they stand at the end of the tournament before the finals, and that's going to be awesome. So, Malcolm, why don't you take it away?
Hey there, guys. This is Malcolm here, and I'm here to give you a score update for the Take 3 bracket competition that we announced when the Anarchy tournament started. Now, we've only got one match left to go. We do have an interesting situation, and as well, I'll explain that at the end. But these are the results after the semi-finals are now done, and this is the last match is pretty much going to decide. I'll start from the bottom. At number 7, we've got Abe Flores with Eddie. He got 7 matches predicted correctly. And tied for 6th place is Brooklyn Manning, Chris Clark, and JTH. They've all got 8 points. Tied for 5th place is me, Cody, and Peter Bueller. In 4th place with 10 points is Sandy Robinson. In 3rd place is Linus with 11 points. Now, all those people, there's no chance for them because the person that chose to win is all out of the tournament now. Now, this is where the fun bit happens. In 2nd place, we've got Robert with 12 points. And in 1st place, we've got Matt with 13. Now, I know what you're saying. It's like, well, Matt's clearly won. Obviously. No, because this is where the interesting situation that is what I alluded to at the start of this. They've both got a different person to win. Robert picked JT and Lon Harris to win, but technically they're not there. But it's the Harris brothers, and it's one of those things like when that change happened, it's like, well, it's too late to change the packet, so that team will be the Harris brothers anyway. And Matt, I mean, if there was any doubt, he picked who's the boss. Yeah. So this is the situation. if the Harris brothers win, then Robert will become tied with Matt, but he will be the winner because that's he picked the correct winning team. But if Who's the Boss wins, then Matt is clearly going to win. So it is between Matt and Robert to win. So anything is possible. So this has been the Take 3 bracket competition. I mean, I made do a competition for the singles. I actually haven't decided yet. The people in Take 3 will probably know that before. But, and if you want to know where to find me, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. Facebook, my name on Facebook is Malcolm Cody Lay. My Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust account is at Malcor. And I'm also on Take 3 hosting Rankum every week and competing in trivia. But yeah, until then, I'll see you.
Thanks, Malcolm, for that special report about our brackets. I think that I'm happy that I wasn't in the bracket thing because I was busy doing other things. And to get just all these little transition things out of the way so Abe can do them all at once. But we're going to shoot it over to, for some reason, Vin Diesel, who's going to do our fantasy update. So why did we hire him to do it again?
Because he's only doing Fast and Furious.
Brooklyn had two choices: eat corn or eat something else.
All right, so that's why we hired him to do the fantasy updates. All right, so away to you, Vin Diesel, for the fantasy updates.
Hey guys, it's Vin Diesel. I'm back here at Take 3. You know why I'm here? Because you guys, this channel is all about family. I mean, look at that. Yawning girl has a baby, so she knows a lot about family. I might have kids, I don't really know, but if I did, we'd have a family. So now, let's talk about the fantasy updates, which is now my family. In first place, we have Super Epic X Team with 883 points. That family is playing really well. In second place, we have Team Corgis. You know, the thing about Corgis is they're family of dogs, and they have 32 points. I can't see through my sunglasses, but it's okay because me and these sunglasses, we're family. In third place, we have Immortan and Schmoedown, and they have 705 points. That's a good family. In fourth place, we have Matt with the Yodi Alliance. He's only got 445 points. His family's doing what you would say, okay. Then, oh god. Then in fifth place, we have a guy who said we should probably just cancel fantasy updates because I'm going to be winning after free-for-all. In fifth place, we have the Penguins, and they only got 433 points. Sucks to suck. In sixth place, we got Tiny Carrots. Carrots, they're the family of the vegetable community, and they have 425 points. And in last place, That Movie Geek. He didn't pick his family so well. Sometimes you can't pick your family, you're stuck with them. But in the case of this, you picked your family. You picked wrong. He's only got 341 points. Also, we have Take 3 trades, but no one's traded because you don't trade your family. Unless, of course, your family suck in the Schmoedown, you want to get points, then you probably should trade your family. So that's it for your fantasy updates. You can follow me, Vin Diesel, on Twitter, @Vin Diesel, and check out Fate of the Furious, which is now streaming on iTunes. It's also available on Blu-ray, DVD, and in some countries, Betamax. Peace out, family. till I see you again.
We have
Good news.
Thank you. All right, so we have a great week of Schmoedowns coming up. Outside of that, if you haven't checked out the horror match on Patreon, it was fantastic. If you're not on Patreon and not at the $10 level, then you can't watch it. But you could if you were on Patreon and had the $10 level. If you're on any other level, you can watch it in 2 weeks. But at the moment, I watched it and it was real, real good. So there's that. I know it's upsetting. Other than that, make sure you are looking forward to the movie release dates match, which is coming up soon on the Patreon, and that's something to really look forward to because that controls an entire wheel slice. So that's some stakes. Out.
It's okay. Ben's not losing his slice. It's okay, Cara.
All right, and then coming up, we have some great matches. On November 6th, we have a doubleheader. So starting out, we have Janine the Machine versus the Boss. So that's going to be great, and that's one of the tournament entry matches. I don't know what they were calling them, but it's going to be awesome because Janine's going to win. She's going to completely own the Boss, and Matt's going to cry, and I'm going to laugh. And then the other half of that day's match is another match that I'm really excited about because I had no idea I needed this match in my life. It is Josh McCougal, the Wild Man, versus Lon Harris, the Professor. And oh my God, I didn't know I wanted this match in my life, but we have it. And it's the most perfect matchup I've ever heard, ever. So it's going to be great. I can't wait because you have the Professor and then you have the person who binge drinks the night before their final exam, heading up against each other in the matches. So we're going to talk about these and give our predictions because this will determine who plays on Friday. So that'll be an easy way for us to talk about who plays on Friday. So starting out, we have Matt. Who do you think is going to win between Janine and Boss and also the Wild Man and the Professor?
Here's the thing, I like Janine. She's a great competitor. She's a friend of the show. But Ben's gonna win. I'm sorry. It's just what's gonna happen. I'm sorry. He's gonna win. Now, Lon versus Makuga. The thing about Makuga is, time and time again, everyone has said, oh, Makuga can't win. He's gonna lose. And then he wins. He just repeat like JT versus Makuga to get into the 2016 singles tournament. Oh, JT is gonna win. Oh, Makuga wins. Like, there's some weird luck that Makuga has. For whatever reason, I'm gonna say Makuga's gonna win. I feel like he's gonna have that lucky streak. Also, the fact of if he does win and then he, let's say, somehow beats Bateman to get in there, he would be playing Clark Wolf in round 1 again. Which I'm really hoping things change this year for Clark. But so I have Bateman and Makuga winning. I'm also thinking these are going to be really funny matches, especially Lon and Makuga. Like, I just have a feeling. It's okay, Car. Don't be upset. Ben's going to win it all. Okay? It's all right.
All right, Brooklyn, why don't you give us your take on who's going to be winning these matches on Tuesday?
Janine the Machine is going to beat Ben Bateman because slow rollers suck, and eventually it's going to bite Ben in the ass whenever he does that. So I am rooting for Janine 1,000% of the way. And then Makuga versus Harris, that is a no-brainer. That is Lon Harris. Makuga's luck ran out last season. So unfortunately, that well has run dry. And then Harris is going to beat the Janine, unfortunately. Yeah. Just very straightforward.
There you go. And last but not least, we got Cody. I will promise I will stop going to you last all the time.
Doubtful.
Yeah, okay. All right, doubtful. Who do you think is going to win?
Great job, Christian. You're doing a great job.
Save the best for last. It's fine. I'm going to definitely tell Brooklyn he's wrong yet again. Bateman wins this match handily. I like Janine. She just doesn't have always the best luck. She knows a lot, but I think Ben is unless you're strong across the table, Ben can get in your head and make you really upset. So Ben's the bully in school that threw rocks at you. So I picked Ben. Lon wins against Makuga, even though I really want Makuga, but I'm sorry. Lon shouldn't even have to qualify for this. I think Lon should be in the tournament, to be truthfully honest, because Lon probably is in one of the best matches this year against Ethan and took him to the wire. So I will say Lon, and then Lon will beat Ben. Unfortunately, it's just Ben will beat Lon in the team tournament, but Ben will beat Lon in the team tournament, but vice versa. That was a lot harder than I thought.
It's Ben tried to do post-match interview. Yes.
Oh yeah, the drunk post-match interview.
He's like, okay, I give up.
Sometimes Cody fools Steelish when he backs Talkwards.
Sure. All right. So that happened. I mean, I had Janine winning because I think it would be funny to see Ben go down that fast to Janine, and it would make Matt sad. And I hope that we get that on the reaction because we want them views. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. All right, and then
the views will probably be just as good as Collision Part 1, right, Kristen? Remember that reaction?
I don't. What happened at Collision Part 1? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Bah!
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so the next match is Wildman versus the Professor. I think that it's definitely going to be the Professor. I just don't foresee Josh getting lucky enough to win this match. I could be wrong. He's been a surprise factor in the past, and I also think it would be hilarious to have Clark versus Josh again. So Friday, it'll be whoever wins these two matches going up, and then that's when the singles tournament will finally actually officially start. So Friday, obviously, I think it's going to be Janine versus the Professor. We'll see, but it should be Lon who wins, and she's really upset because she loves Janine. But it should be Lon who wins. But Janine, I think, is people sleep on Janine's knowledge, and if you pay attention to her playing, every single time she's played, she's been better. So if you go by that thought process, she could really do some damage in this tournament. So I said I wouldn't go to you last, and I haven't decided that that's actually accurate. So we're going to go to Brooklyn first this time.
I'm really sorry. I zoned out hardcore. Can you?
Yeah, what are we talking? Are we talking about the finals? Because I think most of us already.
We're talking about Friday, you buttholes.
What's Friday?
Friday is whoever wins these two matches.
Yeah, I think
we already did that. We already said I have Lon over Janine.
Oh, I didn't know you guys talked about it.
Yeah, I had
both matches. We were talking about one match.
Blame the host. He didn't give us instructions, right?
I said we're talking about Tuesday's matches.
Starting a petition as we speak.
We're Makuga that binge drinks before the final. We didn't pay attention to your course. Sorry.
All right, well, we're going to have to end this thing because I'm not going to be...
Ooh. What's happening?
She's a baby.
What are we doing now?
Yeah, that's what
I'm trying to get her to shut up so that we can finish recording.
Kara, it's okay. Bateman will win it all. There you go.
I was just making sure I didn't miss anything.
Stop. Yes, I'm talking to you, Matt.
Oh, okay, Mom.
All right, so that's it for us because I gotta do stuff that doesn't involve being on the computer. So where can we find you on Take 3 and other places? Brooklyn, why don't you go?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TheRealBK10, the number, not the letters. You can also find me right here at T3 Productions, running not one but two shows, Jukebox Trivia on Mondays, we do various music trivia debate, and countdowns. Be sure to check out the episode that we did on Monday, which was the top 10 Queen list with Bohemian Rhapsody coming out this weekend. And on Thursday, Late Night with Take 3, episode number 52 is coming up on this Thursday. So check that out. We are going to be doing top their favorite war movies with Remembrance Day and Veterans Day being on the 11th.
Awesome opossum. Cody, where can we find you?
You can find me on Wednesdays with Watch Along, which I thought was going to be Spider-Man 2, but I actually worked, so that's going to be something else. You can find me on Thursdays with Late Night with Take 3 as I take everybody else on that panel off. You can also find me on Sundays, sometimes on Rankum, when Malcolm stops doing scary things, as the grumpy old man in the corner that thinks you're all wrong and I'm right.
All right, sounds familiar. All right, and Matt, where can we find you?
You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, Matt Moose6 on YouTube, right here as co-host of Rhyme and Reason. New episode just dropped, part 1 of our Star Trek discussion. Part 2 will be dropping next Saturday. You can also find me, I was just on Rankum, talking about top 12 Halloween TV specials, because, Halloween, we're just letting it dip into November a little bit, and you can also find me on Late Night as the new mini speed round debate champion. You can find me beating Cody and Brooklyn.
Your full title.
Couldn't say it if I tried.
It's fine. No one cares. No
Fine.
Couldn't say if I tried.
All right, and you can find me at Take 3 right here on the Summit, struggling real hard to keep everything in my house quiet so I can record. And also at Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust at Smith_K10, the number, not the word. Okay, that's the Summit. Thanks for watching. Bye.